All right, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for watching the video if you did. I'll say it at the end. All right. Gonna check out some of these notes on the state of Virginia by Thomas Jefferson. Now, the first thing to note when going to these like founding father arguments, they go, well, what did the founding fathers say about this? Or what did the founding fathers say about that? It kind of becomes ridiculous at a certain point because half of the stuff doesn't apply anymore. Like, for example, that Virginia shall be free from all taxes, customs, and impositions whatsoever, and none to be imposed on them without the consent of the Grand Assembly, and so that neither efforts nor castles be erected or garrisons maintained without their consent. Obviously, that doesn't happen anymore. They just take the taxes and they do stuff with it. They're not asking you what you want to do with it. They're not asking for your consent. It's not a voluntary tax. Okay. So now we're going to see a little bit of what he's talking about with Aborigines, Negroes, and women. Though in general they endeavor to appear superior to human events, that his vivacity and activity of mind is equal to ours in the same situation, hence his eagerness for hunting and for games of chance. The women are submitted to unjust drudgery. This, I believe, is the case with every barbarous people. With such, force is law. Oh, so barbarous people believe that in force doctrine. The stronger sex therefore imposes on the weaker. It is civilization alone which replaces women in the enjoyment of their natural equality. So Jefferson believes that a civilized, society makes women equal to men and does not apply force doctrine. Interesting. That first teaches us to subdue the selfish passions and to respect those rights in others which we value in ourselves. Were we in equal barbarism, our females would be equal drudges. The man with them is less strong than with us, but their women stronger than ours, and both for the same obvious reason, because our man and their woman is habituated to labor and formed by it. With both races, the sex which is indulged with ease is least athletic. An Indian man is small in the hand and wrist for the same reason for which a sailor is large and strong in the arms and shoulders, and a porter in the legs and thighs. They raise fewer children than we do. The causes for this are to be found not in a difference of nature, but of circumstance. This is where he goes red pill. So he's like half feminist, half red pill. This is where he goes seriously red pill, though. The women very frequently attending the men in their parties of war and of hunting, childbearing becomes extremely inconvenient to them. It's not because of social media. It might be because of the pill. It's not because men are sad and weak and they're not doing their job and they're not doing what they're supposed to. Women very frequently attending the men in their parties of war and hunting, childbearing becomes extremely inconvenient for them. Even Jefferson knew this. It is said, therefore, that they have learned the practice of procuring abortion by the use of some vegetable, that's what I was talking about before, and that it even extends to prevent conception for a considerable time after. During these parties, they are exposed to numerous hazards to excessive exertions and to the greatest extremities of hunger. Even at their homes, the nations depend for food through a certain part of every year on the gleanings of the forest. That is, they experience a famine once in every year. With all animals, if the female be badly fed or not fed at all, her young perish, and if both male and female be reduced to like want, generation becomes less active, less productive. To the obstacles then of want and hazard, which nature has opposed to the multiplication of wild animals, for the purpose of restraining their numbers within certain bounds, those of labor and of voluntary abortion are added with the Indian. No wonder then if they multiply less than we do. Where food is regularly supplied, a single farm will show more of cattle than a whole country of forest can of buffaloes. The same Indian women, when married to white traders, who feed them and their children plentifully and regularly, whom exempt them from excessive drudgery, who keep them stationary and unexposed to accident, produce and raise as many children as the white women. Instances are known under these circumstances of their rearing a dozen children. An inhuman practice once prevailed in this country of making slaves of the Indians. It is a fact well known with us that the Indian women so enslaved produced and raised as numerous families as either whites or blacks among whom they lived. It has been said that Indians have less hair than whites except on the head, and then they go into that. Yeah, Negroes have less hair. We know that. So, what he says here. But if cold and moisture be the agents of nature for diminishing the races of animals, how comes she all at once to suspend their operation as to the physical man of the new world? So he's wondering how come white guys aren't getting messed up by all the same natural forces that all these other races and animals are. Whom the Count acknowledges to be a plus pres de mime stature que la homme de notre monde, the northern world, and to let loose their influence on his moral faculties. How has this combination of the elements and other physical causes so contrary to the enlargement of animal nature in this new world, these obstacles to be developed and formation of great germs? So basically, he's going on to say, to judge of the truth of this, to form an estimate of their genius and mental powers, more facts are wanting, and great allowance to be made for those circumstances of their situation which call for a display of particular talents only. This done, we shall probably find that they are formed in mind as well as in body on the same module with the Homo sapien Europeanus. The principles of their society forbidding all compulsion, they are to be led to duty and to enterprise by personal influence and persuasion. Hence, eloquence in council, bravery, and success in war become the foundations of all consequence with them. So that's what he's saying about white people. So basically, what you might have missed here, because I didn't comment on it on purpose, and you might have just like completely. Okay, so it says here, right? That the Indians pluck their hairs out because they don't like it. But the traders who marry their women, right? Notice he says that also when he's talking about the vegetables, right? We're the nation. Development's good. So, the same Indian women when married to white traders. So you notice here, there's no miscegenation laws, right? There's no miscegenation laws. Not only are there no miscegenation laws, he's talking about it casually. He's not saying, oh, and then the disgusting practice of when an Indian woman marries a white man, which is completely gross and sick, and they're doing a, what's it called, a regression to the mean, and they're going to kill the white race. He didn't say that. He didn't say that. Of course, they didn't know about genetics back then, and you can see, he's got that Enlightenment philosophy where he's like saying, well, they could be the same as us. It's just that their situation is different. It's just that it's the nature versus nurture argument. And he's like, well, if we can change the nurture a little bit, maybe they can even be equal to us. Maybe that's what he's saying right here. He's saying that this done, we shall probably find that they are formed in the mind as well as body on the same module with the Homo sapien Europeanus, right? So they were under the belief that it was just a nurture thing, not a nature thing. And of course, we now know, biology and genetics, it's at least 50%, if not more, 60, 70%, right? Biological, and then the rest is the environment. So to say that, they were just like, oh, we got to deport all the brown people, it doesn't seem like they were race realists for sure. Certainly, they were like, there's different races, they're different. There's no doubt about that. But were they just like deport them all? Well, I guess at this time, before the Revolutionary War, they wouldn't have been really thinking like that because they were actually the immigrants at that time, right? So to go back to the founding fathers and say, well, what would the founding fathers say about deporting all these brown people? They weren't really bothered by it. They were like, well, we'll just marry a couple of them. Like Artie says, bleach them. Whatever. I'm sorry, that's just fun. The bleach nationalist. And look, I'm not sitting here saying, oh, we should just ramp up the miscegenation. But what I am saying is that on 2 points, one, going back to the founding fathers, just like it's a Bible or something, it's not the Bible. First of all, they all had different opinions. And second of all, half of the things that are in their documents there's no way we could apply them today. And then second of all, I mean, to say that their position on deporting all brown people was like 100%, we just got to deport all brown people, it seems contrary to this. It seems more like they were like, well, the ones that we can get along with, we'll get along with, and the other ones, we just won't talk to them. And we're here, they're here. He talks about earlier in the thing about, they knew already back then in the 1700s that people either came across on boats from Europe going past Greenland, or they came across the Bering Strait. And he's like, yeah, the Native Americans are probably Eskimos, they're probably Chinese that came across the Bering Strait. Either that or they came from Europe way, way, way before us. Or he even suggests that they maybe America was the original place and that they moved to China. Like they walked from America to that the natives walked from America to China, which is a pretty interesting a way to look at it. Or that they came from America to Europe going past, Greenland and all that stuff, which we now know it's all true. Like that stuff's true. So it seems that they had a more nuanced, view of the different races. It wasn't just like a deport them all type of only white people can be here. Because especially at the time, they didn't have the numbers to do that. To just be like, look, we're just they didn't even know all of the, geography of the United States for them to just be like, well, we own it all. It's all white people and all you brown people got to get out of here. That doesn't seem to be where they're coming from. Could be wrong. Maybe there's another part in here that I missed, and he's like, well, you got to deport them all. But I think they just had a different view of the world back then. You can see the Enlightenment view, right? They would probably be exactly the same as us in the mind. Which, I mean, there's some similarities, of course, because humans have like a teleological similarities. Like all men have a teleological similarities. But do our brains work exactly the same? Who knows? Probably not. But does that mean that we're not humans? I don't think so. I think we're humans. Okay. So that's pretty much what I got to say on this topic. Might come back with something similar or some more backup for this type of stuff. But that's what I got to say on it. Thanks for watching the video. If you did, have a good day and peace.